Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of Trading Fibs to bring you the daily trend for April 27th. That's right, Wednesday, April 27th, 2016. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only, to support your knowledge of the market, see what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. What a day! FOMC announcement today together with Crude report. Let's jump right into today's reports. Always make sure you can find the trading session focus as it is updated each day, and then at the end of the week we recap it into the weekly results. But let's go ahead and jump into today, Wednesday, covering the markets, the three indices plus Crude, three markets with 9 setups, the majority of those on the NQ today. Tough to find some good running trends until the very end of the session for a total of 100 ticks. Looking at today's big econ picture here at econoday.com, it was all about pre-session earnings, MBA mortgage applications running into pending home sales, and then it was all about the Crude report and the FOMC. All right, we'll come back to that in a little bit. Daily big picture here on the three major indices as we opened up this morning. Price action on the NQ was holding above the 200 MA. Pre-market session already downside, but did find support here at the 50 MA. Good volume today, pushing above the 60 period moving average. Top row, daily charts with the 50 period moving average and 200. As you can see, the ES and the YM still holding well above those averages, with just under normal volume on the ES today, and YM and NQ popping up way above. Bottom row are the 4-hour charts with the T3 moving averages. As you can see, the downtrend, and today closing out the 50 EMA and the 144 crossing over a downside. So the short-term bias, or let's not use the word bias, but the technical momentum on the NQ is to the downside. Any resurgence of the NQ will absolutely look for the 50 to cross the 144, but right now technical momentum bearish on the NQ. Here, a little bit of a different story on the ES, as price action actually found support at the 50 EMA and held to the upside, as well as to the YM. Here we can see finding support on the 50 144. Let's take a look at the market internals for today. The AD line, advancers and decliners. As we can see, market action started to the downside, which was supported by especially the NQ move, but finding support at that 0 line. And then market action popping back up around the European close, coming slightly to the downside as we got prepared for the pre-FOMC announcement, and then whack-a-mole candles here as they just went all over the place, and then finally finding trend to the upside and holding above the 10-period moving average. Let's get it right into the daily gaps. Let's start out here with the YM. YM holding up here at the high 17,895 back in the year 2015 highs. We do have an open gap to the downside, 17,656, if the YM is to come downside. Again, remember on the daily big pick, the YM still holding well to the upside and holding at the 50 period moving average. So no insight into whether we're coming down to get that daily gap anytime soon, but right now technical momentum holding to the upside. Taking a look at the daily NQ, as we just saw the T3 moving averages on a 4-hour chart and holding to the downside, 50 underneath the 144 EMA going red. Let me show you that one more time here on the daily big pick. T3 moving averages downside and the crossover. Again, we have two major open gaps that we just barely closed back from December 2015. We do have an open gap downside 4017, so it will be any wonder which market will lead which here. Jumping into the daily ES as we near some of those 2015 highs, actually tapping one of those, 2103.25. With a daily, an open gap down here at 2058.50. And rounding up our daily gaps, looking at the Crude. Yes, it was all about the Crude today. 11.515 open gap as market action through the months of November, December, January, and then finally rallying up, pulling back, leaving some open gaps behind, closes out 45.12. What a day. We do have a fib extension up here at 47.97. The question is, looking on the charts, do we continue to the upside or do we come back? Let's take a look at crude on the long-term picture. As we can see here, T3 moving averages holding to the upside, support and bounce off the 50. The daily and the weekly still remaining upside. We know the monthly on our weekly recap is still holding to the downside, but as we can see here, support at the 50 200 period moving average, and as we work our way up to 47.97, the next level up, fib extension. So major lines below 51.44 EMA, and the 200 and the 50 downside. So what looks better is 47.97 at the current time. So trend of the day as we get into our daily trend pictures. It was all about the crude today. Crude closing out that amazing run up to the daily gap that we just saw here at 45.12. Very even trading, as crude not as affected as much as the indices chopped around. So let's go right back to that daily trend. As we can see, some wonderful moves to the downside here on the T3 moving averages and the charts, the T3 moving averages with its 4 supporting charts to show market internals on the 2 bottom rows. T3 moving averages, as you can see, downside here, market action underneath the 51.44 early session, as we can see the technical momentum to the downside. And then the the entries with almost 4 charts in sync. Here we can see sell signal, sell signal, sell signal to the downside. Finally, around that 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time at around 10:30, with the T3 moving averages in sync with all 4 charts, made for a good short. It was finally the turnaround here as the crude buy signal to the upside, perhaps even on the pullback, as the crude continued to the upside, again seeing the 51.44 popping up here to the upside. Let's jump into the YM. YM, a little bit choppier session. Again, offering a little bit of an opportunity in the first couple moves upside, but it was the T3 moving average to the downside, catching up a little bit easier once we got down to the lows where T3 moving averages finally caught up with all 4 charts. So not the best of entries to the YM. The trend highlight of the day on the YM, again, post FOMC, as market finally found some traction here. We could see the buy signal here on 1, 2, 3 charts. And as we go over to the post FOMC announcement, finally the market finding some traction up here, the 50 above 144. Again, YM not best trending day here. The NQ with a lot of choppiness, again, towards the early session. Final couple moves to the downside here as posted on the blog site. I'll go back at the end of the recap here and show you where to find that. But again, T3 moving averages crossing downside. Again, more charts in sync, the better. Sell signal, sell signal, sell signal. Finally, a run down here with 4 charts in sync, but actually trend of the day finally showing up towards the afternoon session, about post 30 minutes to 1 hour of the FOMC announcements. Again, not being able to catch that amazing trend here. Buy signal again with only 2 charts in sync, but as we saw price action cross on the 51.44, giving us a probability with less risk that price action was going to continue, finding support off the 50, and the NQ absolutely took off. Here was the gold standard setup of the day as posted in the blog. Buy signal on 4 charts, Facebook earnings, PayPal out, and the NQ just ripped to the upside. So amazing, nice trend of the day. All right, taking a look at our last charts here on the ES. Again, ES and YM not as trending as the NQ, but again towards that latter part of the session. Taking here a look picture on the ES here around the 11:30 post Euro, around the Euro close. Buy signal on at least 2 charts in the green. Together, looking over at the 2-minute chart here. Again, we have a 2-minute chart here. Price action starting to break upside. trying to find some traction. It took for the FOMC announcement to come out, and finally price action finding support at the 50, and there it was. Two major moves on FOMC announcements here at 206 on three charts in the green. You look over here to the 2-minute chart, price action moving upwards, but it was the resurgence right here on the ES towards the latter part of the session, as we saw on the other indices. Buy signal here, Heiken Ashi bars and trend. How many charts do we have? We have 3 charts in sync together with price action. That's at 251. We have the resurgence of after hitting the 50-period moving average and bouncing up here to the upside that keeps you in the trend. All right, other notable charts that we watch here in the Trading Fibs live trading room, including the daily Fibonacci targets. Here we have the crude today hitting the Fibonacci target low here at 44.02 to all the way up at just about 45.06. So very nice run on the crude, as well as the NQ here, again from one target low all the way up to the other target high here, midnight open, 44.0550. So nice run on the NQ on the Fibonacci projection levels as we watch each day. Again, it's your choice when it comes to trend setting candles, whether it be the the Flex Renko Heiken Ashi bars that you see above, or it's multiple moving averages that you see here. For instance, the Guppy MMA multiple moving average study that helps you remain in the trend. But again, it's the Heiken Ashi bars that really keep me in that trend every single day. All right, jumping into tomorrow as we see econ data, we got GDP coming up. Again, remember that we are at end of the month, so window dressing. If we continue higher, we go back to that daily pick once again. If that daily pick, let me get back to that chart. There we are, finding support. If we hold up above the 50, market action will continue to the upside. NQ's got a little bit more work to do, but finding support off the 50, I have hopes that NQ might be able to lift off these lows, if especially ES and YM are able to hold up. All right, so looking at GDP tomorrow and jobless claims, no Fed speakers up for tomorrow. Again, you want to make sure you come back and visit tradingfibs.com. Here, each day for the trading session focus, where each day I go ahead and block missed opportunities, looking for gold standard setups, or any of the setup highlights that took place in the room, including transparency of those setups each day. All right, that concludes today's daily trend. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra of one simple strategy: any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at tradingfibs, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me and on my charts, and as always, leave your bias at the door when trading. Have yourselves a Blue Zone day, good night, and good trading.